What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Rev Sports Wrap It Up. I am Josh Mayberry alongside the lovely Soul. Soul, how are we doing?
Doing good. I'm excited for Unrivaled, which we'll talk about a little bit. But crazy thing that we're going to talk about today that can people just stop being weird?
No, they're not allowed. They're not allowed to. We won't have anything to talk about.
True.
It's a don't want it to happen, but then we'd have nothing to talk about. Be like, hey, welcome back to the Rev Sports Wrap It Up. Sports happened and nothing weird happened. Back to you. So
We could talk about real sports.
I know we can actually talk about real sports instead of all the craziness that goes on, but that's not what gets clicks, apparently. But we will get into Caitlin Clark having, those Caitlin Clark fans that we talk about that are like, do you like Caitlin Clark or do you like something else? No, he really liked Caitlin Clark. But we'll get into that here in a second. What we will talk about, though, is we are in the midst of getting ready to crown a NCAA football champion, and the path of righteousness that is the Super Bowl is underway.
I'm surprised you didn't say huck it, chuck it, football.
I was waiting for you to do it. So that's why, because we are the playoffs. That's right, playoffs just started. And we have our conference semifinal set. The Chiefs will be playing the Texans, who upset, as we talked about on our bracket bitches on Monday, where we talked about kind of the games that went on. But the Chiefs are going to be playing the Texans after the Texans beat the Chargers. The Ravens are playing the Bills, which seems to be the matchup of the weekend, Lamar versus Josh Allen. The Commanders will doinked it in from Zane Gonzalez, so they will be playing the Lions, and then the Eagles will be playing the very, very hot Rams right now. So it stinks for the Vikings. They basically turned back into a pumpkin like the last couple of weeks, but that's what happens sometimes. A couple other things. An Eagles fan kind of went viral in the wrong way. He was berating these Packer fans and this female, and the internet did its thing. And they found out who he is. And apparently, this is what I'm reading on the internet, and these weren't articles or anything like that, but these are what just people are saying, is that they found out who this person was. And then the Eagles have told him he's no longer welcome. That he's at their stadium. And then apparently they found out his job, and he has been let go from his job. Again, that's what we've seen, but there's nothing out there to be like, yes, this is actually what happened. On that. So yeah,
I believe it to happen. That typically does happen a lot. You'll see videos of someone being a Karen, and then you'll find out that they got fired from their job because some internet sleuth found who they were and where they lived and where they worked and all the things. So try not to get caught on camera if you're gonna be a Karen.
Yeah, Karen or a total douchebag like
or
this
a male
Karen.
Yeah,
a male Karen. I know it's Philly, and they're kind of they're known for these type of things, but it was an ugly video. I'll put it that way. Dallas did move on from Mike McCarthy. I don't know. At this point, Jerry's probably going
to Jerry let him go.
Jerry let him go. They didn't renew his contract. He told the Bears, "You're not allowed to talk to him because I'm going to let him go." What?
If I can't have him, no one can have him.
Yeah, you can't have him. But then you let him go. You're not renewing his contract, so technically the Bears can talk to him now. So, and then he's talked with Dion. I know I'm wearing my Coach Prime hoodie here. He talked with Dion, but nothing's really come of that. I'm pretty sure Dion's probably going to be staying at Colorado there. But so I don't know what Dallas is going to do. At this point, Jerry's probably going to just end up being the coach at this point. I'm pretty sure.
Are you going to continue being a Cowboy fan if Jerry names himself the head coach?
Through thick and thin, man. I've stuck with him for this long. I'm not giving up now. But it's a tough sledding. It's tough sledding. And then the Patriots hired former Titans coach Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel is in the Ring of Honor at the Patriots. A lot of people thought that he was going to be hired last season. I guess they did a stopgap honoring Bill Belichick's wishes of hiring Gerard Mayo. Didn't work out so well. They let him go after one season. Some people says he should have had a second season. We're not the owners of the team. I think to me, the fact that they should have hired Mike Vrabel to begin with, but I guess Kraft wanted to at least honor Bill Belichick's wishes of hiring Gerard Mayo. But the writing was on the wall. Plus, I mean, when you listen to the sound bites and interviews with players, the Patriots players, they weren't buying into what Gerard Mayo was even saying anyway. So even if they gave him another year, I don't think it was going to work out. The team wasn't very good to begin with. For that, no other big moves as it's going on right now. Obviously, the big coach, the big coaching name is the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions, and also the defense coordinator for the Detroit Lions. I'm pretty sure is going to be getting a lot of job interviews, is where Aaron Glenn, I believe, is the defense coordinator's name, and Ben Johnson is the offensive coordinator's name for the Detroit Lions. That's right. People are salivating for a coach from the Lions. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I did not stutter, and they're playing very, very good football right now. So my bracket sucks. It always will suck.
My bracket is great.
Your bracket's great for that, but so it happens every year. I read about a typical coaching change because of all the coaches. You have about 100, or you have a good handful of coaches, not just the head coach, because when head coach gets let go, pretty much the whole coaching staff and other assistants and stuff like that go along with that. So you're talking, maybe it could be up to 15 to 20 people per organization. You add that up, you've got almost 100 vacancies, but then 100 people that don't have jobs. But this is year in, year out. This is football. You just don't hear about it. It stinks, but if you're not winning, they're not going to keep you. So It's just the way how the cookie crumbles. But
go and watch. And if you want to see our full thoughts on all the games, go watch our bracket bitches. It was live on Monday. You can go back and watch on the repeat. We gave our initial thoughts of all the games.
Yep, we did that. So go on back to our YouTube channel after you've watched this from start to stick with us the whole live stream. And after we get done, go back, watch our bracket bitch for our thoughts and breakdowns of the previous games there. Moving on to college football, we got a final in Atlanta.
Can they both lose?
Nope, can't do that. There has to be a winner. Notre Dame and Ohio State Buckeyes will be playing for the national championship. As it stands right now, I think Ohio State is a 9.5-point favorite, which, like I said, the Notre Dame defense is I think is probably going to be the best defense Ohio State has played, but I still don't think that's enough because Ohio State's defense is just as good as anyone else in the nation. They have the best talent. It's just the only thing keeping Ohio State from winning is Ryan Day being overthinking it. He overthought playing Michigan. He lost that game. Texas, they just made the right plays there at the end. Texas made some boneheaded calls. I think some goal line. They started at the 1 and then they ran a pitch play. Next thing you know, it was like 3rd and 5 when you're on the 1 yard line. So I don't know, but the Ohio State made the plays they needed to do to pull that win off, and we will be figuring out a champion. To me, I think it's going to be Ohio State. They look like a wagon, even though Texas played them pretty close. It'll be interesting to see because I think Marcus Freeman's a better coach than Ryan Day as it stands right now as far as in-game adjustments. But we shall see. I know
be a contrarian, I'm going to go with Notre Dame, mainly because Ohio State fans suck.
Yeah. Depending on what Notre Dame fans you talk to, they suck too. So.
They also suck, but they suck a little less.
Yeah.
Also, they don't spell their state. O-H.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
In their chants.
I always find it ironic that Ohio State fans think they're the God's gift to football, and I'm like, you literally are playing Notre Dame. Like that's they're the Catholic school, touchdown Jesus, but you're God's gift, right? Okay, but that's semantics there. But yeah, I just think Ohio State's just a better team. So the only person stopping Ohio State is the guy that's the head coach, because I think Notre Dame's going to come out. They're going to play their butts off. They're going to leave everything out there. I just don't think they stack up at all against Ohio. Well, they don't stack up at all, but I just don't think they have enough to get the job done compared to Ohio State. There. Any other thoughts before we move on to basketball? Because we pretty much already covered these two things as far as NFL. We kind of covered on bracket bitches, and then we kind of already covered it as well with our other bracket bitches as well with the NCAA football.
The one where all of us are busted, pretty much.
Yeah. But Chris and Landon, I believe, are the ones that could have.
Although Landon is now busted.
Right, he's busted. So Chris basically
He's our winner.
He's our winner. Yeah, I was about to say congratulations, Chris. You are the winner.
You're the wiener.
Wiener.
But I'm ready for some basketball.
Oh, our boy Jimmy.
Our boy Jimmy. Some more Jimmy news.
Yeah.
Before we get to the bad, during his suspension, he went and just did a little workout with Unrivaled and Sato Sabali. So let's watch that.
Mm-hmm.
Which I really
with no sound. Because we don't want to get copywritten.
Yes.
There we go.
No sound.
I've muted it. Let me start that over. I muted it.
It's fine. You can keep going. It wouldn't be a show if Josh didn't have at least one faux pas.
Mm-hmm. That's what I do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I guess he wants to play for Unrivaled now.
Yeah. It'd be such a troll job if they had him working out with like Asia Wilson. It's like, really, Jimmy? That's Bam's girl.
Also, on a side note too, he also opened up the brick and mortar store for Big Face Coffee. If you don't know about Big Face Coffee, that is during the bubble in Orlando. He pretty much was just like, if you want a cup of coffee, you brought a coffee machine. It's $20 every size. I don't give any change. So there was players paying for coffee at $100 a piece because he did not give those players any change. So, and then now he's created a full brand with that. But let's get into the sadder news for me as a Miami Heat fan. It's been reported by Legion Hoops that there were multiple instances where Jimmy Butler skipped morning shoot-arounds and insisted on taking private flights separate from the team, and was ultimately what led to the 7-game suspension. They also reported that even his close friend, Kyle Lowry, grew fatigued by Jimmy's headstrong tendencies. It was also reported that Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, and Caleb Martin were Butler's guys. Those were 3 were traded in the previous years. Butler is said to have viewed Strus as a brother, someone who could match the All-Stars' sarcastic, some call it abrasive, sense of humor. They hated us. They hated a celebrated handshake routine featured often in Instagram posts and punctuated by the players flipping each other off with shared tongue-in-cheek zeal. Several people who knew that edition of the Heat well cited Strus as an instrumental figure in keeping Butler steady within the greater team dynamic. It's kind of weird that a grown man needs another grown man to keep him steady, but it is what it is. ESPN reported yesterday that Jimmy Butler told Pat Riley that he will not sign a new deal in Miami and that he intends to use his $52 million player option for 2025-26 in the offseason only as a trade maneuver. ESPN also reported that Eric Spoelstra, Tyler Hero, and Bam Adebayo have spoken in the past week about finding clarity and eliminating the distraction of Butler's circumstances during his absence. That is what we wanted, just to get back on the road, get away from all this chaos, Hero told reporters after Saturday night's win over the Portland Trailblazers, rallying around each other, making it about the guys that are here now. We got enough. And then we got some, UD, the OG, Miami's own Udonis Haslem. He has some thoughts. We're not going to play the full 19-minute clip, but we are going to play like 2 little sections from the clip where he's just first giving his thoughts in a funny way, but then the second one giving his true thoughts.
You start at 127, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Here we go. Oops.
Bron, get the run.
That was
Yeah, I don't want no
UD.
smoke with JJ, dog.
And this is now. So sticking with the Heat, this is Miami this week. On Tuesday, Tom reported that the suspended Heat star Jimmy Butler reiterated in a face-to-face meeting with Pat Riley, he wants to be traded. He will not sign a new deal with Miami. UD, I know you're in a spot here, but you're with us. You spent 20 years with Miami, 4 with Jimmy Butler. So I have to ask you, how do you think this plays out? What light can you shed on what'll happen Friday when his suspension ends?
Well, the light that I can share right now is that Jaime Jaquez Jr. is averaging 15 points a game right now on this road trip since Jimmy's been out. Nico is averaging 13 a game. The young guys are getting a chance to develop. But if you think I'm touching that conversation, you got a better chance of wrestling the alligator. I'm staying out of that. I ain't got nothing to do with that. That is above my pay grade. I don't want none of that smoke. Let Rouse figure it out.
My dad's family's from Louisiana, where there will be no wrestling of any alligators. Chine, I'm going to turn to you.
We'll pause there.
Yeah.
And then going to his next part, then he gives his real thoughts there. But I think everyone heard that sigh from UD at the beginning.
Sounds like he's over it. I'm tired of this stuff. All right, so 421. All right. Oops.
I'm sorry. I will say this, guys. There's one thing that we do say. You either in or you out. There's no in between. And that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it at that. You either in or you out. There's no in between.
And if, you have a that is in, UD, you know this better than we.
Yeah, that's the heart and soul of Miami Heat. If you want Heat culture, look up the definition of Heat culture. It's just UD standing there.
Yeah, it's Udonis Haslem.
Yeah.
And as much as I love D Wade Wade's my favorite player. D Wade left us. Granted, he is a Miami boy, but UD has stayed with the team, has stayed loyal to the team. He is Heat culture. And the players even talked about how the fact that him on the bench, even though he wasn't playing, because the reason he made a deal with Pat Riley, like, I'll take less now. And Pat Riley then was just like, you can be on this team for as long as you want, getting paid because you took one for the team in your paycheck early on to get LeBron and to get Bosh. So, and they said having him on the bench as kind of a player coach, pretty much more coach than player, more mentor than player, that really helped the players. That Tyler Hero has spoken about it. Bam Adebayo has spoken about it. Even Jimmy Butler has spoken about how much UD being there helped the team when people were like cracking, like, what's he doing? He's just sitting on the bench, because he was a really important role. And I think possibly if he was on the bench right now, some of the shit probably wouldn't have been happening. So
there was might have been 2 years ago or something when UD was still on the bench. And I think it might have been Jimmy and Spoelstra getting to it. And then UD just stood up and just started kind of got in the middle of it and kind of cooled it down. And I remember, I think it was like maybe First Taker Stephen A. was like, you can argue all you want, but if Udonis Haslem stands up, you sitting down, type of thing. Because it's just how it's the presence and the respect that UD just brings that they do. But yeah. And Jimmy just reminds me right now, that like not Fighting Temptations, but the Temptations movie, like the TNT movie or whatever. And it was just the whole thing of like the one guy that got to, thought he was the star or whatever. I forget the exact person, but the whole thing is like, they're coming to see the Temptation. He's like, no one come to see you, Otis. Like, I just feel like that's the conversation that Jimmy Butler is having with the Miami Heat. Ain't nobody coming to see you. They're coming to see me.
Yeah, it is sad because, like, and I said this last week with Jimmy, is that, like, we went to 2 finals with him, and he has shown himself to, like, put in the work, especially during playoff time for our team. There's even stories of him, like, at practice, like, people were slacking off, and he got real pissed off about it. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, oh, Jimmy's all about that Heat culture. And, like, we all thought, like, oh, he's perfect here at the Heat because he's all about that Heat culture. So it's kind of sad to be like, oh, maybe he wasn't, or what's going on with him. And so I have respect for Jimmy, but then at the same time, as like a Miami Heat fan, like if you don't want to be here, leave. Like I only want players here that want to be here.
Right. I think it all stems from the fact that he wanted Damian Lillard when that free agency happened. He wanted Damian Lillard, and I guess they didn't. Pat and all them decided they didn't want Damian Lillard. They weren't worth it or whatever. Well, that's when you got emo Jimmy saying that if he was playing, they would have won. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of started the snowball of where we are today, because I'm pretty sure in Jimmy's eyes, a lot of times your star player goes to the organization saying, hey, I want this guy. And when they say, actually, we're going to go here, they're like, oh, so I'm the one that's out here. And if you don't have me, then you don't have anything. And here's what I'm suggesting. And we've seen it with a lot of star players. If they go to they kind of run the show. I'm not going to name names, but they do have the initials LJ. Okay. So when they go to the organization, say, hey, I want this, they ended up getting it. And I'm thinking that's probably I'm just speculating, because this isn't the first time Jimmy's, butted heads with teammates and stuff and organizations and stuff like that. But it was all, rainbows and daisies until the Damian Lillard thing happened. Then we got emo Jimmy and he was hurt and all this, it was the beginning of the end, because I'm pretty sure he felt his voice
find the love for the game again.
Right. I'm just like, so he just is coming up with different reasons of he's sabotaging to get him out of there because he doesn't feel like his voice is being heard the way he thinks it needs to be heard. I'm sorry, Jimmy. They just didn't want Damian Lillard, and he left for Milwaukee, and he didn't feel like the Heat really tried for that. And I, if you want me to pinpoint where this all kind of started from, it's not just Jimmy being Jimmy. It's the Damian Lillard situation.
And I'll even put. And Dan Le Batard has even spoken of it. Like, you gotta fault a little bit on Pat Riley's side as well. Like, even though, like, I have so much respect for Pat Riley, and you do too. We've talked about how much like we have respect for Pat Riley, but Pat Riley didn't get him any help, really.
No, that's why he was pissed about Damian Lillard.
And so, I don't know if it's a cheap thing. I don't know if it's the sum is greater than its parts. We don't need superstars. We can do this. Like, no one thought the Heat in 2020 in the bubble were going to make it to the final.
Right.
No one thought we were going to make it to the final against a Joker.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not we've been able to go forward, and as long as we make it into the playoffs, now it's kind of a thing like, oh, if the Heat make it into the playoffs, like they could end up in the final. It doesn't matter if they're an 8th seed or a 9th seed or whatever. It's like playoff time. There's a switch and everyone gets on board together and plays greater than the parts. So, and that's probably to our detriment that we've been able to do that. That's probably why Jimmy hasn't gotten any help. Because if you look at Dwayne Wade and Shaq and all that, like we won in 06 because Pat got some help.
No, you had Gary Payton. That's why. You had like 45-year-old Gary Payton.
And then like we win our next two because LeBron and Bosh.
Yeah.
Like, so part of it is you need that number one, that number two, possibly that number three. And like Bam can be a number three. We talked about it. Jimmy can be a number two, but we need a number one.
We don't have a number. I don't think Terry Rozier is going to be your number one.
Nah.
Tyler Hero is going to be your number one. I don't think
although Tyler Hero is having like an amazing season this year.
Right, but he's not
a number one.
He's not Jimmy. Like he's not like the one. I mean, like he's not Donovan. He's not. He's not those all-stars. He's having an amazing season, and they're still going to be in every game just because of Spoelstra and how they construct it. But I don't see if they make the playoffs, it's not going to be very far with this team right now. Now it depends on what they get in the trade, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to because Pat's like doesn't want to deal with the trade or anything like that. Chicago is Yeah, they do just enough to get fans there, but they never do enough to actually want to win. That's what's happening with Chicago. Is they always do just that's what I've seen that take before from Bulls fans. They're like, all Jerry Rosdorf does is be just good enough to keep fans interested, get them there, make the money that he needs to make, but he's not going to spend enough money to push them past and get them to the 90s and get them back get them their 7th championship. He's just not going to do it until he sells the team, and he won't because why would he? I mean, he's doing what he needs to do now on that. And then I get what you're saying there. We all know what you're talking about. You know, the whole rumor between him and Rachel Nichols. Yeah, we get it. Right. Yeah. Thank you for agreeing with me on something, Giff. That's never happened before. I'll mark that down. What time is it? All right. On that. But
I think you got some college basketball to speak.
I do. But one quick thing. I did see this headline about the NBA because Cleveland's playing very, very good right now. And there was Brian Windhorst, I believe it was his article, but like the headline was, players are wanting to go to Cleveland. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. What was that article? What was that headline again? Like that got my attention. I'm like, who the hell wants to go to Cleveland? Right. So I just thought that was hilarious. But yeah,
Jimmy to Cleveland confirmed.
Yeah, Jimmy to Cleveland confirmed. Yeah. So it's just like players are wanting to go to Cleveland. I'm like, what? Like, I understand if you want to go to Cleveland.
My best friend lives in Cleveland. She doesn't even want to be in Cleveland.
Right. It's a whole joke. Anyone been to Cleveland on purpose? But no, let's move on to college basketball. Is Cooper Flagg. He's really good. He scored. He dominated. He's continued to dominate. Probably going to be the player of the year as of right now, just because we'll get to it in a second. Of the Auburn player, but he dropped 42 points against Pitt. And again, for those who don't know who Cooper Flagg is, he's like 6'8", 17 years. This kid's like 17 years old. He reclassified and came and is in college a year earlier than he typically will be. So if you ever have a chance, I know he plays for Duke, and I don't like Duke, but man, is he fun to watch. So anytime Duke is on and you don't really want to watch college basketball, at least watch him play because he is that guy. He's probably going to be the number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft. And so I'm interested to see. But yes, Cooper Flagg is the truth. I don't think there's no debate about it. He'll probably end up being the player of the year because Auburn, who is a top 5 team right now, but Johnny Broome got hurt. It looked like he could have fractured his ankle, but they haven't really said what's wrong with it. It was definitely a high ankle sprain, so he's going to be out for a while. But Auburn's still winning. That's the thing. There's even when in that daunted SEC, and we're talking about basketball, not football. We're talking about basketball. That SEC is a gauntlet. Okay, for those who don't know, Arkansas, the mighty John Calipari, is 0-4. They are in last place of the SEC. That is how tough it is. And there was an Arkansas fan because, for those who don't know, John Calipari was at Kentucky forever, and they wanted to really part ways, but they would have to pay John Calipari an ungodly amount of money. And then Arkansas came calling, and he's very good. He's good friends with their biggest booster for Arkansas. Arkansas's biggest booster is a guy that owns Tyson Foods, so the Chicken Man, is if those who don't know, and he's close with John. They hire him. He brings in all of his, freshmen and all that. Turns out it's just a different game. And LSU was not that great. They played last night, and there was an Arkansas fan that's because they're getting ready to go to Kentucky, and that's going to be a fun one because they're going to get the dog crap kicked out of them by Kentucky. But the Arkansas fan says, if we lose to LSU, I will go to Rupp Arena and have a bag over my head and say I'm coping for Cal. And so, yeah, he's going to be a man of his word. So we'll see. Look out for the guy with the bag over his head. I'm pretty sure it's going to be all over social media for that. In really good news, Louisville's back. They took a 2-year hiatus and only won 12 games in 2 years, but we've already surpassed that. Louisville went from winning 12 games in 2 years to a 7-game winning streak in second place right now in the ACC. They only have one loss, and that is to Duke, who I think is probably the best team in the country right now. So yes, Pat Kelsey and that Louisville staff put together a great roster from literally started with no players and built that roster. They bought into his system, and Pat Kelsey is right now there's some whispers that he could be coach of the year. I mean, you literally go from taking over a team that won 8 games last year to possibly getting second place overall, top 25 in the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2019. I think it was the last time we got Louisville got in the NCAA tournament. So we're back. It's great. Yeah. Shout out to that 1990 dinosaur movie with John Goodman. Go watch it. It's pretty cool. But I'm going back to the bad parts about college basketball. Indiana, it's over with them and Mike Woodson. They have now lost 2 games in a row by 25 plus points. They were down by 20 at halftime. The student section was chanting "Fire Woodson" throughout the game. The team basically quit. Like, he has lost that locker room. And that, as far as NIL, like, they spent the most money, I believe. They're like second or third of how much money they spent to get those players, and nothing to show for it. And that's the bad part about NIL, is because when you have because you have to have donors and boosters, and they want to be good. But if they don't get that return on investment, aka wins, and seeing this product, you're going to lose some NIL money to get your players there. So that's some trouble in River City for them there. And then I can't believe I'm actually going to talk positive about UK, but you have to call a spade when something cool happens. And UK did it. UK bounced back after the loss to Georgia to take care of 2 ranked teams, Mississippi State and Texas A&M. I think they have 7 wins right now over top 15 teams.
Beating Texas A&M.
Yeah.
It's my mom's school.
But the real cool thing that happened after the Mississippi State game at Mississippi State, head coach Mark Pope of the Kentucky Wildcats, he's a former player there. He was on the national championship team back in '96. And he met with a bunch of fans, and there was a guy in a wheelchair who couldn't make it down to the lower bowl to meet with Mark. So I guess someone told him about the fan up there, and he said, "Hey, tell him to stay there. I'm going to come up and I'm going to visit with him." And he was a man of his word. And this is him, Mark Pope, meeting up with the Kentucky fan who is from Mississippi. He said that the Kentucky fan said that he became him and just sitting down with Mark spent some little time with him. Really cool thing. But the kid said that, when he realized what basketball was, John Wall and that team were playing, and he's been a Kentucky fan ever since. But this is Mark Pope meeting with the fan.
Yes, sir. How we going, baby? How are you, my friend? I'm doing great.
Yeah. And just him sitting and just talking and chatting, and just the little things. And so many people, so many coaches and everybody were retweeting and commenting on it. Pat Kelsey, the head coach for Louisville, and they're supposed to be big time rivals, but when you do something positive, you got to make sure that positivity spreads so people can see it. And he was saying, love that. All Pat Kelsey said was "love thy neighbor." Great stuff. That's what he was saying there. And Pat Kelsey's amazing. Louisville, Kentucky went from this is the first time since Adolph Rupp was hired that Louisville and Kentucky have 2 new coaches to start the season. Since so it's like you're talking like the 50s since this has happened, and both teams so far have done home run hires, and this wasn't the first choice for either team. And you're having 2 coaches right now that are walking the walk, talking the talk, and walking the walk as far as not only being good coaches and winning, but also winning off the court as well for everything that they do. And it's weird seeing right now, that whole that thing about the Bloods and the Crips with their bandanas and their time together and then unity. It's like UVL UK fans are like, wait, I like your coach. And the UK fans are like, I like yours too. It's like, this sucks. I don't like it. I don't want it.
Doesn't feel right.
It doesn't feel right. So yeah, it's a weird time because we're all like, man, I like Mark Pope. It's like, can he like just do something wrong? Just because right now we're grasping because there was some recruit or whatever, and he was showing them the scuffle between UVL and UK. So people are like, oh, and little fans are like, okay, there it is. He's being petty. I'm like, come on, guys, we're reaching. You know that. You're reaching. But it's only time until they do something. All it needs is just a little something for the other fan base to be like, I told you sucked. But yeah, good stuff there. I'm always good about even though it's UK. When I see positive things that I want to share with the world, I want to make sure people see it. But that's what I've got there, and
we got one more thing.
We got
on college basketball.
Yeah.
And it's Audie Crooks joins Hannah Hidalgo and Juju Watkins as the lone sophomore to eclipse the 1,000 point mark. So we have her. She's also fastest player in Iowa State women's basketball history to 1,000 career points. So congratulations to Audie Crooks.
Yeah.
Get them points, girl.
Yeah.
And also, not a bad to be in with Hannah Hidalgo and Juju. Like, not a bad trio there.
I've yet to research it. What does Juju need to average to beat Caitlin Clark, like points per game wise?
I don't know. That is a question that you can Google.
I can Google that. For those who know, Caitlin Clark is the highest point. She has the most points of any male or female in college sports history. She beat out Pistol Pete. For those who don't know how crazy the feat Pistol Pete's was and the fact that it's lasted as long as it did, he played in the 60s when there was no 3-point line, no shot clock, and you never played as a freshman. So he only played for 3 years. He averaged 43 points a game. It was for LSU. It was ridiculous.
And on the women's side, the person that she hooped over was Kelsey Plum.
Mm-hmm. But I know right now Juju is on path. She has a path. She has a path.
And hey, maybe Audie Crooks will show up too.
Yeah, it's possible. It can be done, and it's only going to happen in the women's game because the men don't stay in college that long in order to do it, and they're not gonna average the points that they typically do to do it anyway. Because there was a player that because of COVID and everything, I think it was like his 7th year in college, and he still didn't beat out Pistol Pete. Like that's how hard that record is to beat. I don't care if it's male or female. That was one of those records like you knew it was attainable. You just didn't think you were going to see it. It's kind of like when American Pharaoh won the Triple Crown. Just in my lifetime, I never thought I'd see that. Got to see it twice, and then got to see Caitlin Clark break it.
Speaking of Caitlin Clark, Josh, you want to take over this one?
Yeah, I can take. Okay, we always do this. Trigger warning about this. This could be a touchy subject for some people. It's not the R word, but it's still some things that people have dealt with that they still can get PTSD from. So this is a trigger warning for those about this story. We want to make sure we say that before we just dive right into it, and then something triggers you on that end. So that being said, do our due diligence there, but it wouldn't be right if we did not talk about it. Mm-hmm. There you go. So Caitlin Clark, she had a stalker. Those, and I've read about other internet personalities and stuff that deal with stalkers, and every time it just makes my skin crawl reading some of the stories that they dealt with. And Caitlin had one. Michael Thomas Lewis, a 55-year-old from Denton, Texas, was arrested on a felony stalking charge in Indianapolis on Sunday after he allegedly repeatedly sent threats and sexually violent messages to Caitlin Clark via social media, possibly facing up to 6 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. The message is shared by ESPN. They did not share the more sexually violent messages, by the way. One has a couple of them here are, been driving around your house 3 times a day. I'm getting tickets. I'm sitting behind the bench. They say I was sending threatening texts, but the only thought on my mind was, Caitlin, Yeah, it's all in caps. So I'm trying to do that there. The 22-year-old Clark, the WNBA Rookie of the Year, told police she feared for her safety even before Lewis arrived in Indianapolis, and he even altered her appearance in public. She also told police that she never responded to any of Lewis's messages or posts. The post actually caused Caitlin Clark to feel terrorized, frightened, intimidated, or threatened, and an implicit or explicit threat also was made, quote, with the intent to place Clayton Clark in reasonable fear of sexual battery. Prosecutors wrote in the Marion County Superior Court filing. The FBI tracked the IP address of Lewis's recent messages to a hotel in downtown Indianapolis, as well as the Indianapolis Public Library. Indianapolis police then made a welfare check on Lewis, according to court documents, and he told officers that he was in, quote, an imaginary relationship with Clark and that he came to Indianapolis on vacation. Police told Lewis during the visit to, quote, not post things like he has been posting because his posts can be perceived as threatening, according to the court document. Quote, if it's an imagination fantasy type thing and it's a joke and it's nothing to do with threatening, Lewis told police, according to the court documents. ESPN reminded people that this isn't the first time. In December, a 40-year-old man from Oregon received a 1-year suspended sentence and 3 years probation after pleading guilty to a second-degree charge following his arrest for stalking UConn star basketball player Paige Buchers. From a separate ESPN article, they reported that Lewis was disruptive in court. I watched the video. Dude was off his rocker.
Yeah.
You have, and a quote, you have a right to remain silent, and I expect you to exercise that on me, Judge Angela Davis said. When Lewis 55 continued, she told him again to stop talking. Lewis was ordered and held on $50,000 bail, and Davis ordered her to stay away from Indianapolis basketball arenas, Gamebridge Fieldhouse and Hinkle Fieldhouse, where Clark and the Indiana Fever play their home games, and to not have any contact with the reigning WNBA Rookie of the Year. Lewis is due back in Marion Supreme Court on March 31st for a pretrial hearing on that. I know in that video, if you want to watch it, it's weird. It's a strange video. He comes in twitching back and forth, just off his rocker, and at one point he was just like, "I'm guilty as charged." Like he just basically was just like, pleading, but she couldn't even start the court hearing because he was just babbling.
And I think even too, she put him currently at like a non-guilty plea just because they couldn't really get anything truly out of him with him in the proper mental state. So they couldn't even like legally put him as a guilty, as him saying that he was guilty because mentally he was not all right being so disruptive and weird in court.
Right. Yeah. And unfortunately we see like with the Paige thing. And then I remember I forget what other star, but there was a person from overseas basically quit his job and flew all the way to wherever this person, I forget the female was, but he was, in his mind, he was married to her for years. And this is opposite of Caitlin. I'm just kind of going into other ones that I've seen recently. And you can tell me if fill me in the blank and tell me who it is or anything like that. But it stinks that, you see these a lot more than needs to be.
And this is scary for any person, any celebrity to have stalkers, to have people go after them. It's weird that we're seeing it more so on female athletes, and it is just these weird men and weird fans. And there's been really a conversation about fandom and fans, and some of it is gatekeeping and some of it, which I never like, and some of it is just like, yeah, maybe that person isn't a real fan. They're just a little weird. So I think that needs to be a conversation that's had. We don't have all the answers here at REV. I don't think anyone does, but I think that's something that should be looked at and studied a little bit more on why this problem is persistent.
Yeah. Guys, quit being weird.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the main thing. Stop being weird.
Quit being weird. There's a thing outside that rises in the east and sets in the west about good hours of the good old hours of the day, unless you're in Alaska during certain times. It's called the sun. Go out in it. It's really
touch
good.
Some grass.
Touch some grass. Get some. It gets you some vitamins from the sun. All that. It's healthy for you. Just do that. Take a deep breath. Go on a walk. Listen to the birds chirp. It'll get your mind away from that and doing something crazy, because you're sitting there and you're obsessing over something to where you mentally are getting to that
Also,
point.
get help too.
Yeah, get help. There's got to be someone out there that you'll listen to.
Not even like someone out there, just like actual like professionals.
Yeah.
And we all need help sometimes. Like it doesn't make you weird or less of a person or whatever to get help. So if you need help, if you need to talk to a professional, please do so.
Yeah. And I know in certain people and like in certain age groups, they find getting help being like there's something wrong with them. No, we all need that help. And thankfully in this society, no one's giving you crap for doing it anymore. Everyone, there used to be, movies and stuff like, oh, you have to see a shrink and blah, 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 all that. Not anymore. Like it's a very accepted, and people applaud you for doing so. And we'd rather you do that than what's going on here. This. Yeah. Go talk to somebody and tell them that you're obsessed with Caitlin Clark, and they will talk you down from it. Instead of you being in handcuffs, being disruptive and being nuts
and possibly, what was it? Ending up in jail for 6 years, possibly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a scary thing. But I'm glad it's unfortunate that Caitlin had to go through that. It's that weird more money, more problems, unfortunately. Like, again, all she wants to do is just play basketball.
And
that's not the more money, more problems. It's just, I'm talking like fame level. That's what I meant by that. Not really though.
But even if you're famous, like famous people are people too. They're just rich people. Yeah. Sometimes they can think more about the lesser person, but that's a conversation for another day.
They can just buy a lot more shit than most people can.
But like we saw last year too. What is the played on the Chicago Sky with Angel Reese? Well, the one who Kennedy Carter. Mm-hmm. There was people following her around in the hotel and ended up like getting arrested. I don't think they ended up serving any time, but they were following her around because it was a Caitlin Clark fan upset with her over that debacle and kind of they were then going after her, which stop going after these famous people. Leave them alone.
Leave them alone. Leave them alone.
Also at the same time, like, they don't even make that much money. Like Caitlin Clark does because of endorsement deals, but some of these WNBA players, they ain't making shit. Like, leave them alone.
No, they don't do that. They're making, they're not the 100 million billionaires. They're out there, 80,000 a year, like some contracts are. So that's why they have to go overseas. I think
Caitlin's is like 75.
Yeah, it's because of the rookie contract situation.
Yeah.
But she's getting paid $1 gajillion by Nike. I think it's Nike.
Nike and other endorsement deals. Like State Farm.
Yeah.
But going to happier news, Unrivaled starts this week. Starts in 2 days. I'm so excited. Some Unrivaled news. Coco Koff. She has become an investor in Unrivaled. These investors like going up and up and up. So if you add her to the list of names of people that are investing in this league, which that just makes me super excited that if you have all of these rich people going, this is viable, this is going to make money, I'm going to invest money into this, that means that it's going to be good. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
So we got some funny stuff here because we like to be a little lighthearted. Sometimes we'll talk about those serious stuff, but sometimes we'll be a little lighthearted. Dejanay Carrington buys Marina Mabry some seasoning.
Oh, dang it. Oh, let me bring it back up. Hold on. Accidentally opened that one. Okay.
We'll go to the first one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we're starting from the first story.
There you go.
So yeah, buy Marina Mabry some seasoning next. So Marina Mabry goes to Twitter and says, "I can finally cook," and all she has is avocado oil spray, black pepper, and Himalayan salt. Girl, what you cooking with that?
Yeah.
Dejanay Carrington, bah! Dog, I spit my drink out. What the fuck are you making with these 3 things, bro? I mean, seriously, these are the questions. Yeah. And so Dejanay made sure to get, and if you remember, last year, these 2 players hated each other, and they've hated each other for years because they've always played against each other. And then Marina Mabry gets traded from the Chicago Sky to Connecticut. They're now teammates, and they have become best friends now that they are teammates. So even though they currently aren't teammates in Unrivaled, Dejanay's still getting her girl right by getting her some seasoning. So let's watch the video.
Marina.
I just
you can keep the sign on.
Oh wow.
Is it more seasonings?
The seasoning. Them some good seasoning.
What's to do with this?
You hit that Lowry. You can still use your pepper.
You made me smile.
Mix your pepper with
before you came over here.
The sauce for A.
What? I got it from garlic
You didn't get the
powder.
low sodium?
No. I was gonna get some Old Bay, but I don't even know if you eat like seafood like that.
Are you insulting me?
Yes, we're insulting you.
Yes, Serena. Yes.
We are definitely insulting you. Gosh, you sounded like my mom there for a second. Low sodium? I said low sodium. Yeah, you need sodium. You need hydrate.
They were like, "You'll sweat it out."
Yeah, you'll sweat it out. Like you play a sport.
I don't mean to go against your people, but what was it with white people and not seasoning their food and we having to get you guys right?
Oh, I seasoned the crap out of it.
She also shares your last name, so she really is your people.
There's an E. I have no E. Okay. She once she starts seasoning, then that the E will slowly deteriorate, and then I can claim her as a distant cousin. But until then, you need Spice Rack, girl. There's a thing called Spice Rack. It's really cool, and like you see in all those cook videos of them like opening that cool Spice Rack drawer, and it's all laid out so like in like the OCD / people with autisms, they love that Spice Rack because it's so layered out and it's perfectly looking and all the labels and stuff. You see those videos, it's very watch them.
See, I want one of those, but my spice tins are like too big for them to make a spice drawer like that.
Yeah.
But going on to some extra news here, Unrivaled. Unrivaled partnered with the Looney Tunes.
Yeah. Yeah, you got don't ever call her doll.
Got Lola Bunny there.
It's your girl Lola, and I'm here to tell you, Unrivaled has arrived. Here are 5 things you need to know before tip-off. This isn't just basketball, it's a whole movement. A new 3-on-3 pro women's league founded by not 1, but 2 absolute icons of the game. We're talking 6 stacked clubs featuring 36 of the biggest stars in women's basketball. The talent? Unmatched. Seriously, I might need a slow-mo replay just to catch my breath. The season is 8 weeks of non-stop action, high stakes, high energy, and 0 filler. Oh, and get this. A mid-season one-on-one tourney with $250,000 on the line. Winner takes all. No pressure, right? So yeah, you won't want to miss this.
Woo!
Looney Tunes on board.
Yeah. It's nope. I had a joke and it just was not going to be good. So I'm going to refrain. I'm going to refrain for the sake of our audience hating me for making a bad joke.
Now we're going to have some fun here. The first video we're going to show, Phantom is one of the teams. They're trying to come up with a chant. They need some help. So let's see what they've come up with so far, and let's see if we can come up with something better.
Yeah.
What's that? Beat to the boo boo.
One, two, three. Phantom.
We gonna come up with one.
Hey,
We gonna come up with one. We gonna come up with like, hey boo boo.
We're open to suggestions.
Yeah, it's a work in progress. So far, not off to a great start. Not right off to a great start.
Peekaboo. What up, boo boo?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Never scared. That should be the thing.
But yeah, so let us know down in the comments below what should be their chant. And this next one,
1, 2, 3. Boo, bitch. Like just
boo, bitch.
boo, bitch.
Since Josh said Vinyl is going to be his team this year, I need him to let us know which one has the best record scratch.
Okay. The first one was as close as you're gonna get with that. That was.
You want to hear it one more time?
Yeah.
I kind of like Aaliyah Boston's era.
Yeah. Ain't bad. I don't know. That first one just like yeah. She had the pitch right. The first one. She had the pitch
You like
right.
Derica's?
Yeah, I like Derica's. She had the pitch right. To me. But
that is all.
Yeah, they're gonna be record scratching their way to a championship because I find them.
That is all I have for basketball.
Yeah. Real quick, before we get into kicking and screaming, I do want to say the golf league. Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy started it. That's over. They do it. It's basically like video golf. Like those golf simulators and stuff. So they've actually have an arena, and so they're having matches, like kind of like Top Golf, but it's more of like them hitting into an actual screen. Now there is a green, bunkers, stuff like that. It's pretty cool, but it's just something different. So that kicked off there. So jump in, check that out. I just want to kind of mention that real quick is for all you golf fans out there that we still have golf and it's different. To me, I watched it. It was okay. I like the real thing. Just there's something about the Masters that just you can't do on a video screen. So, but at least it's something different, kind of like Unrivaled and the 3v3 or the Big Three or whatever Ice Cube's league is called. So it's always at least an alternative to the typical sporting event. It's always at least something interesting to watch. Now we just need to bring back Slam Ball. If anybody remembers that.
Are you ready for some kicking and screaming?
Yeah.
All right. First, we're going to go into a little bit of MLS news. I guess Jimmy Butler and Tyreek Hill are not the only people that want out of their teams. It seems to be the year of athletes not wanting to be with their teams. Lucho Acosta and Sebastian Driussi want out of the MLS. According to U.S. Soccer Insider Tom Bogert, Cincinnati captain Luciano Acosta has not reported for preseason training and that he was not given permission to report late from FC Cincinnati. In November, Acosta said he wanted to leave the club and return to Argentina. And then we got Sebastian Driussi also didn't show up to preseason camp with Austin FC. And let's have the Cooligans explain what's going on.
Make sure it's unmuted. It is not. All right, there we go.
And he does, and blah, blah, blah. And then the other player,
Driussi, bro.
Austin FC,
wants to go to REV.
Another tiny Argentinian. The tiny Argentinian, they don't want to show up to work.
You just can't trust them. Is
that what it is? I sound like Elon Musk. These tiny Argentinians just don't want to work anymore.
Yeah. When it comes to Driussi, he basically said, like, hey, man, sell me to River. And Austin FC is like, we're not selling you unless we get a good offer. And he's like, all right, well, I'm already here. So, I guess you decide if that's a good enough offer or not.
Tom Bogert also reported that Sebastian Driussi no-shows a mandatory medical to kick off the Austin FC preseason as he tries to force a move.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. These tiny Argentinians, they don't want to show up to work. I wasn't able to hear you there.
I was like, they don't want to work. I don't know. They just don't want to work.
But yeah, I know FC Cincinnati is your nemesis, but thoughts on both FC Cincinnati and Austin FC having two tiny Argentinians that don't want to show up for preseason?
I mean, who wants to go to Cincinnati? Number one, like, I mean, there. Austin, that's a different situation. Like, I don't understand that. Austin's a fun city. Like, I don't know why you don't want to go there. Maybe he's having too much fun in Austin. That's why he didn't want to go to work. Maybe that's it. But yeah, the one Argentinian, he took one look at Cincinnati and goes, no, and then on that. So yeah, that's why. It's because one was having too much fun in Austin, and one was like, I don't want to go to Cincinnati.
So yeah, for Lucho, if Messi wasn't in the league, arguably he could have been MVP. I believe he's been MVP before. He is one of the mainstays of like people that are one of the top players in the MLS. And then Driussi, he's also a top player. He's a DP for Austin. And that's the funny part of that they were talking about, that he's like, I want to be traded. We're not trading you. Well, I'm already here. So, I mean, I guess you should train me because I'm already in Argentina with River.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's going to work out. Maybe it has worked out for him or not, but yeah.
At this point, I just want to know our boy, what he's thinking about his Argentinians and what's going on with that. I at this point, I'm like, Kavichko, what's the situation here, man? What's the situation?
And also, like Lucho, he recently got his American citizenship. Why is he not at January camp? Come on, Pochettino.
Yeah, Jesus. Dios míos. That's all I got as far as Spanish is concerned.
We got some other trade news. This time on the NWSL, Jaden Shaw traded from San Diego Wave to North Carolina Courage. North Carolina Courage have added U.S. women's national team midfielder Jaden Shaw in a trade with San Diego. Shaw, 20, is under contract through the 2026 NWSL season. Bringing Jaden here is a great day for our club, says Courage head coach Sean Nahas. She is someone who has every tool at such a young age and will be a key part of our club. Shaw joins the Courage after 3 standout seasons with the Wave, where she recorded 13 goals and 4 assists, including a pivotal role in San Diego's 2023 Shield winning campaign. Internationally, Shaw has been a force for the U.S. women's national team with 8 goals and 1 assist in 21 caps, helping the team claim titles at the 2024 Olympics and the 2024 She Believes Cup, and was awarded the CONCACAF W Gold Cup Golden Ball as the tournament's best player. But we do got a little bit of scuttlebutt, so let's get into all that scuttlebutt a little bit. San Diego, they're still going through their lawsuit. Last year, I think at least 5 former employees came out and sued San Diego for toxic work environment and some like extra stuff going on there. They sued San Diego Wave and also U.S. Women's National Team former head coach and currently now the president of the San Diego Wave, Jill Ellis, and kind of that her and the culture that she set at San Diego is very toxic work environment. And if you hear former U.S. Women's National Team players, they say that her as a head coach, she was very toxic as well. So it wasn't surprising to hear this then from former employees coming out. So they're still dealing with those legal issues. And apparently like the front office is kind of a little bit of a mess, what you hear from behind the scenes scuttlebutt kind of things. Then on top of that, they just hired the Arsenal head coach, Johan Ideval, and he famously got into a fight with Emma Hayes during.
He's gone. You don't know. She's Emma Hayes. There's no wrong. You're done.
I don't know if it was FA Cup or it was one of those cups that they have in England. Mm-hmm. And Chelsea was playing Arsenal. She was the head coach of Chelsea. He was the head coach of Arsenal. There was an argument over apparently they agreed to play with one ball instead of multiple balls, and so a ball went out of bounds, and one of the Chelsea players tried to play it back in quick with a different ball, and he basically got in her face, and Emma was like, stay away from my players. And then after the game, when he went in to give the handshake, she basically like pushed and said like, get away from me. And apparently they have not talked since, and they used to have conversation just like head coach to head coach. They kind of like are all in. I just assume they're all in like a group chat together because they seem to all know each other and talk to each other. But probably not. But that's like my headcanon. Apparently, because we have a player, Emily Fox, who plays for Arsenal, that Emma has not talked to that man, according to him, has not talked to him, has not talked about Emily Fox with him, and basically has had her assistants talk to him and see where Emily Fox is doing and all of that, like basically completely removing herself from conversation with him. And so if your head coach is going to be in like conflict with your international head coach, you probably don't want to play for that coach. And so maybe that's another reason why Jaden's like, yeah, I'm going to North Carolina, see you. But we still got Naomi Girma there, so I hope Naomi Girma leaves. But yeah, thoughts on kind of the fall of San Diego and Jaden going to North Carolina.
I mean, it's a toxic relationship. You got to get out. What's up with all this toxicity in the WNBA with all like the allegations and bullying and stuff? And then you go here and there's just no one can get up. Why can't we all get along and do it the right way and not, treat people like dog crap, all of that. But hey, go where you're happy. And if you want to, every time, we all know this, we've all been through it. When there's just a bad situation that just wanes on you mentally, physically, or spiritually, all that, you guys, sometimes it's just better just to take your ball and leave, or not go home in a sense, but just leave. I don't know if she might be from North Carolina. I don't know. But it's best to just take your ball. And the one ball, not multiple, one ball. I don't know. It's so weird, though. You can only use one ball. I'm like, they always have multiple, especially when they kick it out of the stadium.
It's kind of in those situations, I guess it's like an agreed upon thing beforehand, and you have to agree to either multi-ball system or a one-ball system. And they had apparently, according to the thing, Chelsea said, we want only a one-ball system. And so them's the rules for that game. And so basically the Chelsea player was breaking the rule that they set upon before the game. But Emma used the words male aggression with the way that he was talking to her player. And if you see the video, he was like getting all up in her face and like yelling at her. And that's a little unprofessional, but then also Emma at the end was a little unprofessional. So there was just unprofessionalism going all around.
Yeah, it's nothing to write home about. Nothing to tell your kids to look up to. Hey, we're not all perfect. But yeah, stop yelling at opposing teams' players. That's not cool, man. But also, Emma's definitely going to stick up for her player.
Yeah, 100%. And yes, San Diego just also been weird. We're going to get into Casey Stoney in a second, but Casey Stoney was fired from San Diego, and everyone was like, what? And then Landon Donovan became the head coach, and everyone's just like, love Landon as a U.S. men's national team player. He's never coached women's soccer before. Yeah, so I don't know. San Diego, you're being weird. But speaking of Casey Stoney hired as the head coach of Canada. For those that don't remember, Canada's women were caught cheating with drones at the 2024 Paris Olympics, and Bev Priestman, along with two of her assistants, were banned from coaching for a year by FIFA. After the Olympics and a full investigation was had, it was revealed that that people were like, oh, did they also cheat in the Tokyo Olympics that they won? Turns out they didn't cheat in Tokyo. It was them cheating there in Paris and apparently like a little bit beforehand. that also the players had no idea. This was purely a coaching staff thing, and them using drones to spy on other teams, then getting information from that, and then from there just using it as a scouting report with the players. So the players had no idea that the scouting report was coming from drones spying on other teams.
Gotcha. Yeah, and Tushka likes scuttlebutts. He likes scuttlebutts. Yeah.
When that full investigation came out, because Canada hadn't fired Bev Priestman yet, it was kind of people were wondering, oh, is Canada going to keep her on and just have an interim coach for the year, and then when she serves her FIFA ban, then she comes back and is coach. But when they come out, after the investigation, they fired her, and so now we got Casey Stoney. And Casey Stoney, she goes, I am honored to join Canada Soccer as head coach of the women's national team. Canada has a proud tradition in women's football, and I'm excited to work with such a talented group of players. Together with the Federation's new leadership, we will strive to build on past successes and continue to grow the sport in Canada on and off the field. I look forward to the journey ahead and to engaging with the incredible passion of Canadian soccer fans. But let's get a little bit into the timeline of Casey Stoney. So her timeline, her accolades. She had 130 caps as a player for the Lionesses, representing England at 3 World Cups. She captained Team Great Britain because they don't, at the Olympics, they don't show up as England, they show up as Great Britain. So she captained them at the 2012 London Olympics, which the U.S. won gold, by the way, in 2012. Transitioning to coaching, Stoney made her debut at Chelsea in 2009 while still an active player, serving in the role of player manager. Immediately following her retirement in 2018, Stoney joined the staff of the England women's national team as an assistant under Phil Neville, who then became the Inter Miami head coach and then thankfully left before being hired as the inaugural head coach of Manchester United women. Stoney led Manchester United to FA Championship title in their debut season, earning promotion and establishing them as a competitive force in the Women's Super League. In 2021, she was named the first head coach of the expansion San Diego Wave in the NWSL. In its debut season in 2022, Wave FC finished third in the NWSL table and reached the playoff semifinals before losing to the eventual champion Portland Thorns. Also in her debut year with San Diego, she won the 2022 NWSL Coach of the Year. In 2023, San Diego won the Shield, meaning they were the best team in the regular season. And at the beginning of the 2024 season, she won the Challenge Cup with San Diego, a game between the previous year's Shield winner and the NWSL winner. But then fired by San Diego later that year after a bad run of games, which even though they were going through some rough games, everyone was, as I said, shocked by the firing because such a good coach. And also, won the Challenge Cup that year, won the Shield the previous year, was Coach of the Year. So her firing kind of came as a shock. And it's probably come from a little bit of that front office not being completely healthy. But now she's head coach of Canada. So Josh, thoughts?
As long as you don't do the drones, you should be good. I mean, her accolades speak for herself. There's even in other sports, it doesn't matter how good you are if you don't see eye to eye with the front office. It's just best for people to part ways. Jimmy Johnson won back-to-back Super Bowls, but then he didn't see eye to eye with Jerry Jones. They parted ways. Jim Harbaugh, when he was at San Francisco, took him to Super Bowls, was always winning. Didn't see eye to eye with the front office. He left for Michigan. So just those type of things happen sometimes in sports where the coach did everything they're supposed to, as far as what you get hired to do. But hey, when it comes to the same thing, kind of like with Jimmy Butler, he was like, hey, I want Damian Lillard. And they're like, no. Same thing with her. She probably was like, hey, I want to make these moves and these moves. And they're like, no. So they probably, and she was like, and they couldn't, she wasn't going to walk because there was nowhere else for her to go. So I guess they said, all right, well, agree to disagree here. Here's your.
Yeah, I don't even think there was anything of that nature with the front office of her, because she had Alex Morgan. She had one of the best goalkeepers, the Canadian goalkeeper.
Too soon.
she has Naomi Gurma, she had Jaden Shaw. So like she has a good team, and I don't think really there is anything of that. There was nothing in the news about her arguing with the front office in that way, but so that's why like it came as a shock. But it also came after the reporting of those 5+ former employees coming out with the toxic work environment. So people like glommed on to maybe it has to do with that.
Yeah, it could be that. So yeah, unfortunately, it might not be her fault in a sense, but it's her staff, that she's going to take the blame, even though she might not have anything to do with it. So it just stinks. But hey, congratulations.
Even if it's the front office, is not really her stuff. It's that's on Jill Ellis.
Right. But if anything, congratulations, Casey. I can't wait for Emma Hayes to tell you thanks. To
bugger off.
Bugger off. And thanks for playing. But we're going to stand on this podium, and good for you.
If you think of accolades in the women's game internationally, it's the U.S. and it's Canada, and now both are coached by English women.
Yeah. Well, they can't win it for their own country. They got to play it. They got to come to be the coaches for the U.S. and Canada. Aha! See, still get little jabs in on England. Still doing it. That's right.
But you ready to light the lamp?
We're still not in last place.
Yeah. I was like, I pressed the thing. Let me go over to the thing.
But by the way, Tushko likes scuttlebutts, and he cannot lie. There you go.
So we're gonna start off with Matthew Tkachuk fight with the New Jersey Devils. Got the art but make it sports treatment. So let's just look at that beauty there. I love art but make it sports. If you are not following them, they're on, I believe, Twitter, they're on Instagram, they're probably on all the social medias. It's absolutely beautiful, and just look at that.
It's sports and art combined. It's an art form.
Yeah, it's an art form, really. And the fact that this guy memorizes all of these paintings, he's come out, he's like, no, it's not AI, no, it's not, this is literally just me, I'm doing it myself. And so that's even more impressive. But let's actually look at the fight.
Yeah. All right. So I zoomed in on it.
Just, show the thing. So we got there the still picture. Let's go to the next slide. Look at that.
Headlock on headlock. It's like headlock in Inception on that. All the headlocks.
And the ref just trying to break it up. Yeah. And I guess this is what started it.
Yeah, he went high on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, nope. Yeah, that's yeah. I understand why that happened. Yeah, he went high on him. You're not. That's a faux pas. So yeah, come on, Tkachuk. Come on, you know better than that. But hey,
he stood up for himself though.
Oh yeah, no, he knows, yeah. He knows what he was doing.
We ended up beating New Jersey in the shootout, so let's watch. And your favorite announcer is there, but he's not doing exactly the way you love. It's just kind of a normal announcement on this one.
Come on, man. I mean, I know you can't be batting 1,000, but man, that's all right. Playoff hockey. Yeah, my dude's gonna be on point.
He's gonna be ready.
On Markstrom, goes wide, stays on the forehand and scores. Anton Lundell picks the corner, and in a shootout for the 4th time this season, Anton Lundell.
There was no corny line. Like,
no,
didn't get that high pitched nasal corny line that I just
it's like he expected it from Lundell. Lundell's done it for us before. He's just like, yeah, I know, this is gonna come through.
Yeah, but I just needed that. It's all right. I'm fine. but I expected more.
I know. Maybe next time. But Josh, the Preds beat the leaders of the Pacific Division, the Vegas Golden Knights, yesterday, and they officially have two teams, not just one, but not two, teams that are worse than them in the standing by points, the San Jose Sharks and the Chicago Blackhawks. So how does it feel to be now third last, where originally you were last?
Baby steps. Oh, now they're just giving me hope. But
by
not
being
really.
third last?
That's like, hey, it's better than what we've been. One day I'm going to pick a team that's worth the shit. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. Oh, why did I just stay as an Atlanta Braves fan? Why did I have to pay attention to the Reds?
No.
I don't know why I did that.
I think you can take the Atlanta Braves back.
No,
they were your original team.
I'm too committed now to it, because at this point I'm like, Atlanta's won it. Cool. I want to push the Reds.
You want the pain?
I want the pain, because they're going to give me hope, because they have Ellie, and they're signing. They have Taylor Francona now. They have to shut up. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't you do that. Don't you speak that into existence. I already had to say goodbye to other superstars like Alex Morgan and other people this year. I'm not ready to say goodbye to Ellie as a Cincinnati Red. We just started. I'm not doing that. Anyway, but no, it's still cool to beat Vegas. But we're still, according to the standings, we're still a gentleman's 29 points back from first place in Winnipeg. So yeah, that's great. So hey. It's better. It's better than the Chicago Blackhawks, who are
they are the worst team in the NHL.
There's that money ball of there's good teams, then there are bad teams, then there's 50 feet of crap, and then there's the Chicago Blackhawks.
And unfortunately, earlier this year, they beat the Panthers, so that was one of their wins.
Hey, once one finds a nut every once in a while.
Right. We beat good teams and lose to bad teams.
Well, that's a good sign for if you make the playoffs then, because you're all going to be good teams.
But current leaders right now in the Atlantic is the Toronto.
You've been hanging out with me too much.
Too much. Toronto Maple Leafs. They're only beating the Panthers by 1 point. In the Metropolitan, it's the Washington Capitals. Josh, Hurricanes lost their last two games, so maybe you don't know puck?
No, I will know puck. It's a long season. I've been every time when it gets to the playoffs, I'm like, yeah, that team's going to do it. This is the first year that I'm like, all right, Hurricanes, I'm sticking with it. It's going to be their year. It's not looking good right now.
No,
but
not at the moment.
They're still right there. They're still in striking distance to make the playoffs. I just need a seat at the table. Give me a seat at the table with the Hurricanes. They'll take over from there. And as long as the Toronto Maple Leafs lose in the first round, I just need that to happen. Need two things to happen. I need the Hurricanes to make the playoffs. That way they can make a run. And the Toronto Maple Leafs to just fall on their face.
And then you got Central is the Winnipeg Jets. And then Pacific, you got the Vegas Golden Knights, who the Preds beat in the last game yesterday. So they're head of the Pacific there. So that's what I got for hockey. Any more thoughts on hockey, on your Preds, on possibly the Hurricanes, maybe doing something on my team, on your favorite announcer, anything?
I need my favorite. I need my favorite announcer. He's throwing changeups. I need his fastball at all times. I need him to be on point every single day. I need those corny lines. As far as the Hurricanes, step up. Okay, I need to put no puck in my resume. Okay, no ball. Got that one. Got that down to a T. Except for bracket bitches. Don't worry about that part. But I do know ball. Okay, I just don't know puck. Puck is my Achilles heel when it comes to sports. As far as the big American sports are concerned, I know it's a Canadian thing, but Florida's been winning more Stanley Cups than Canadian teams are, so it's an American sport at this point. And also the U.S. won the juniors or whatever it is, like the U20 or whatever. They won that. America won that in I forget. They might have beat Canada in hockey. So yeah, we're still it's American sport until Canada beats us again. It still hasn't been a Canadian team in forever. So yeah, And then hurt, and then Preds just
don't be last.
Don't be last. At this point, just don't be last. If you do somehow make the playoffs, it'll be a really cool story. But just don't be last. And it's time. This offseason, I thought we made some really good moves in the offseason, signing a lot of veteran players. But they're gonna. I think it's re-entered. I think the Preds have entered the. All right, let's start from scratch. Rebuild era.
So you're in the rebuild time.
We're in the rebuild time. I don't like it, but hockey you can rebuild quicker than you can in like baseball or something. NFL's tough to rebuild. Basketball you can because there's not as many players. Same thing with hockey. It doesn't take very much to rebuild it, whereas baseball and football take a little bit longer. I mean, for example, look at the Detroit Lions when they finally got the right people in the office. They only won like 2 games their first year. Then they won like 8. Then they went to the NFC Championship last year. Now the number 1 seed. So it took them 3 to 4 years to get to this point. It takes baseball teams forever.
The rebuild of the rebuild.
Yeah, they rebuild and then they put a port. Then it's just rebuilding.
But I did lie. I do have one more thing. I wanted both you and Tushka to see this, but since Tushka's not here, I guess it's you. You have to make it. You got to be the sole decision maker for Rev on how this team would do. If NFL team was made out of NHL players, let's roll the clip.
All right, here we go. I zoomed in correctly on it. Making sure that.
Team, this would be the roster. Crosby at QB, he can handle the pressure. He's got high IQ. He's got that Tom Brady energy. Barzell, Duclair, and Garland are the receivers. They're fast, slippery, sick hands. Ovechkin at running back, because who the fuck's going to stop this guy on a blast? Tight end, we're going Protas or Thompson. And then Alexiak, Parayko, Hedman, and Gudis on the O-line with Patty Maroon at center. On to D, our tackles are going to be Luke Shen and Nikita Zadorov. And then we got Rempe and Jack Guy as our defensive ends. It should be obvious why. Outside linebackers are Tom Wilson and Sam Bennett. And then we got Ryan Reeves running shit in the middle. These guys will fuck dudes up. Barkov, Konechny as our corners. And then JT Miller and McKinnon as our safeties. Could this squad take an NFL team? Let's hear your thoughts below, fellas, and let's see your votes. If the NHL...
No, they're not going to beat an NFL team. Ovechkin at running back? Dude's like 80. I know Derrick Henry is old and Saquon is older. No, it's not going to work. It's cool to think about.
I like that Sam Bennett and Barkov got shout outs.
Yeah. I like where his head's at, but no, it's not going to happen. Now, that being said, the Philadelphia Eagles are trying to make that happen with Cooper DeJean and I forget the other guy as far as the white corners on defense with the safeties and stuff there. But no, well, but I like the roster.
Do you like the list, though? I like
the list. I'm surprised to see Crosby at quarterback. I think that's more of a name than skill set that you're going with there. But, you know, he's seen the league. He knows the speed. So veteran at quarterback, start that there. So yeah, I can get behind that. But no Bedard, no, you didn't have Connor on there. So I'm like, or what guy from Edmonton? Help me out. The really good one.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. That guy.
Yeah, that guy, the best player in the league.
The best player in the league.
The best player in the league. They didn't mention him. He's so good. I can't remember his daggone name. Connor McDavid. There you go.
Yes.
Connor McDavid. Good job, Brain. Way to get there. Yeah, they never mentioned Connor McDavid. Like, that should be your quarterback or skill set player. They never mentioned him. No. And still no love for kickers. They never said a kicker.
Yeah, true. But we have been a little weird, but you want to get a little bit weirder?
Sure.
All right, first off, we got our sports meme of the week. We have this an Onion article, which the They're undefeated. LeBron pressures Bronny to have grandchildren before he's too old to play with them in the NBA.
My favorite Onion article of all time. I think it was when remember the Onion, they did like a show on college on Comedy Central. So like they gave him like a show. It didn't last very long. But one of my favorite ones was a bomb threat was issued on the Pro Bowl. The thing is, no one freaked out about it because no one was there. So it's like they just let it go. Yeah. Just remember when that bomb went off at the Pro Bowl and like 3 bystanders were affected as they were walking to the beach in Hawaii. It was just, just something like that.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, he was on New Heights recently.
I love the Onion articles. What's sad is sometimes they aren't that far away from the truth. And that's the times when it gets a little scary.
Yeah.
But
Plus, it's fun seeing like the boomers where the Onion like pops up on like Facebook or something, and the boomers are like, "Did you see what happened?" I'm like, "It's a joke. It's not real.
It's not real.
It's
fake news.
Fake news. That is literally fake news. They say that. Look it up." But it's hilarious. So sometimes people are like, "Did you see that?" I'm like, "What article was it?" I don't know. Something called the Onion. Oh my god, it's not real.
I want to know the timeline where the Onion is actual real news journalism. That would be interesting. But that's our sports meme of the week. Josh, where can the people find us?
The people can find us at least every Wednesday here doing the Rev Sports Wrap It Up. We talk about anything of the week that was in sports. So you can check us next week. We'll see if the Chiefs suck. They won't. They're not going to suck. We're going to win. We all know it. Tune in back here to see if I'm going to be depressed because Josh Allen just is perfect at life and does everything really well and is engaged to Haley Steinfeld and all that fun jazz. You can just be turning it. Just
you
all
really do like misery.
All you sickos out there, tune in next week for my misery. That's what's good. All you sickos and perverts out there that just tune in. And I'm also talking about the 2 co-hosts on the show because they always like to trigger me because they like to hear me do this crap. Okay, so they're just as sick as everyone else.
Sometimes he triggers himself. We don't even have to say anything.
I mean, this is an outlet. This is a safe space that I just let some things out without getting canceled, even though I push the limit sometimes. And on Thursdays, you can catch me and Justin Toner. Where we break down the week that was in wrestling, at Ruckus Wrestling. There, got a big debut from Penta, a really good luchador on WWE, made his debut there, and then also we'll be, like I said, going live for the Royal Rumble on February 1st there, and then Game Dudes. It's kind of like a lead in. I feel like it's like TGIF or something. Like here's your block of entertainment brought to you by Rev Sports. You have me and the Game Dudes playing Divinity Original Sins. We finally moved on to Act 3. We're only 80 hours into the game. But that's not whatever. And then you can follow up by seeing us wrap up everything with sports. And then we'll be trying to do our Bracket Bitches shows on Monday since Fantasy F Around is on a temporary hiatus because there's nothing to talk about. So we're probably going to be back around April. We're going to be spitballing. Me and Tish are going to be spitballing some things to talk about. Draft and mock drafts and stuff like that. But if anything, we'll be back to go over the actual NFL draft and how that will impact your teams there. Like, subscribe, join us on the Discord. And last but not least, Soul, tell them about how people can read good.
We're doing a Red Book Club. January's pick up. Bring up the book because you have it.
I got it right here. Tuesdays
with Maury.
Yeah. Old Man in the Sea. I don't know. No, it's something.
By Mitch Albom. So that's going to be January's pick. But for February going forward, we're having people nominate books right now. And then I'm going to come up with like the top 3 or 4. And then we're all going to vote. And so it's a democracy over here with Rev. The Discord link down below to give your nominations there. And we'll figure out what we're reading for February. But
we got a lot of suggestions. We
did get a lot of suggestions, and we'll be doing our live the first Friday in February to talk about Tuesdays with Maury. So if you're not part of our Discord, which why aren't you? But if you're not part of it, but you want to come back for the first Friday to talk about Tuesdays with Maury, come see that live.
Yeah. So.
But anyways, ready for our moment of Zen?
Let's do it. Boom. Head to stage.
It's so simple. Bye, everyone.
It's like ice breaking on concrete. Just awesome. We love that shit.
All right. Okay, cool. Mic is set. Check, check, check. All right. Hey, we ready to go live? Guys? Hello? Guys?